Part 38. The Lord of Reincarnation. Author, Wen Xiaogong. Chapter 373. You can search for Reincarnation Lord in Baidu to find the latest chapter. Emergency meetings were held one after another. After the change of heavenly demon, warriors have too many things to deal with. Alien colonies, riots on the Valkyrie star, attacks by demons. All kinds of internal turmoil, external turmoil, and the mental breakdown of the warrior himself. If it hadn't been for the courageously recruiting the largest non-government opposition organization, the Fire Pirates, the chaos on Valkyrie would have been 10 times worse. After Fang Xian won the interests of himself and the fleet, he kept silent and just listened with his ears. This attitude reassured the other counselors. At the same time, he felt that Luo Yi was worthy of being a young and mature man, and now he has become a military boss. Still not arrogant or impetuous, really calm and scary. To sum up, the next ruling policy of our martial god star is to gradually abandon the frontline battlefields and riots on the colonial star, and start to shrink the defense line. Wait until mechas and various weapons suitable for warriors and even civilians are developed and equipped with the army. Then start fight back. Dai Gian said in a deep voice, while shrinking the battle line, the safety of the Valkyrie mother planet and the various resource planets must be entrusted to everyone in the United Fleet. Please rest assured that the defensive counterattack plan is still feasible. The supreme power of the demon side should not easily join the battlefield. Fang Xian glanced around, and said calmly, that kind of existence, the concept is completely different from ours. I don't care about it, as long as you don't provoke him. Having said that, everyone else can only smile wryly. I thought I could solve the extraterrestrial demons once and for all, but what is this now? And, about why I can maintain my martial arts. Fang Xian continued, seeing other people's faces tense. He obviously didn't expect that he would take the initiative to throw this out. Maybe it has something to do with my concurrent cultivation. On the day of the heavenly demon transformation, I successively broke through the ranks of martial saint, martial god, martial immortal, the way of martial Buddha, touched a trace of immortality. This is actually a lie. Even if the martial arts are immortal, if you encounter that kind of weakening, you still have to kneel. The key to Fang Xian's survival is to transform into a 5th-level alchemist. The one whose existence is weakened is the warrior. Does he have anything to do with my alchemist? But in this world, he really didn't dare to preach the word rashly before he had achieved great success as an alchemist, otherwise it would be very dangerous and terrifying to be noticed by that kind of existence. At this time, we can only use this theory to prevaricate. However, the way of the 3 flowers gathering at the top of martial god, martial saint, and martial immortal is indeed the higher realm of warriors deduced by him, and it is not a scam. Even if it is used for deduction, it will be very feasible. And when the results of human experiments are produced, I am afraid that I don't know how many years have passed. At that time, the situation will definitely have new changes. Continuing the 4 realms. A congressman was shocked. Is this something that humans can do? Although it is difficult, it may indeed be a shortcut to break through. Huo Filong sighed, and said, actually, in the history of our Huo family, there was a peerless genius who once broke through 3 realms in a row and was certified as martial sage, martial god, martial saint, and martial sage. The way of the immortal, the combat power is terrifying, unparalleled. Just break through and go mad. The Mecha Master was sent to subdue it, but it didn't take long before he died suddenly. Now it seems that the problem is the lack of the way of Wuofo? It's not 1 missing, but 2. Fang Xian secretly added something in his heart. But of course he won't reveal that this kind of person who has successfully passed the 3 realms is already a monstrous evildoer. If he wants to find a warrior who has broken 4 realms in a row to prove that he is lying, then it will not be a matter of the year of the monkey. He wasn't going to get to the bottom of it, so he thought for a while and said, besides, I think some martial arts can be adapted into more powerful exercises. No, it should be said to be more suitable for the current environment. The Kung Fu method, the martial arts mental method, is in a process of continuous evolution. In fact, they are preparing to use some general-purpose martial arts to improve the strength of the warriors by a little bit. Worthy of being a martial artist who has broken through 4 realms in a row, we are also preparing for the development of a new technique to adapt to the current environment. Unexpectedly, Commander Luo, you already have a clue. Dai Gian smiled. In addition, the internal security of Valkyrie Star also needs to be rectified, especially Tianmo men, who will definitely take the opportunity to come out and make trouble. Fang Xian frowned. If the Fire Stealers are still internally conflicted, the Heavenly Demon sect is a group of lunatics who have taken refuge in the Heavenly Demon. They cannot be reconciled at all, and the two sides will inevitably end in the complete destruction of one side. It just so happens that the United Fleet also needs preparations. During this period of time, I can lead the team to clean up some dangerous signs of the Valkyrie Star. Fang Xian chuckled, I have special sensing skills, and ordinary demon warriors can't escape my eyes. Then, please Commander Luo. The other counselors nodded one after another, feeling that the Tianmo Gate is indeed a malignant tumor that needs to be eradicated, otherwise, under the current situation, they would not even be able to sleep peacefully. Night. Fang Xian just participated in a dinner hosted by Dai Gian, and in the middle of the banquet, he returned to his room under the sad eyes of many ladies and ladies. In order to win over a rising political star, those congressmen basically brought their daughters. This is understandable, but it's quite boring. He sat cross-legged, looking at the 3 earthworm-like twisted rays of light in his hand. Through simple detection and analysis, Fang Xian knows that these 3 rays of light do not exist in substance, nor are they illusory, so they are difficult to be studied and utilized by the laboratory. Because they are the essence of Zuri-level demons, a trace of alienated immortality, or demonic nature. General extraordinary, most of them will touch immortality at the 6th level, my way of alchemy is completed at the 5th level, so, what is its 6th level? It's too early to think about these things, what I need to do now is to complete the 5th level of alchemist training. Fang Xian took a deep breath. The terrifying tribulation force in the void is like a mighty river, rolling down. This world does not need his stirring, it is already in a precarious state, and the calamity power generated is also incomparably rich. After all, the level of the Mecha warrior world is only slightly lower than that of the extraordinary world before. The feedback brought about by changing the world is naturally incomparably rich. The power of robbery, transformation. After thinking for a while, Fang Xian stopped hesitating and began to transform the 3 demon natures. With the scouring of robbery force, these 3 demonic natures faded from their pitch-black color and became somewhat grayish-white. This is what they are. When seeing them, Fang Xian suddenly felt the longing in his body. Swallowing them is at least equivalent to the sum of the tribulation power I have harvested so far. For the convenience of reading next time, you can click favorite below to record this, chapter 372 Big Brother, reading record, and you can see it next time you open the bookshelf. If you like The Lord of Reincarnation, please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. The Lord of Reincarnation. Author, Wen Xiaogong. Chapter 374. You can search for Reincarnation Lord, in Baidu to find the latest chapter. Star District. This is the bustling area of Valkyrie Star after the Valkyrie District. At this time, the streets were full of depression. My martial arts are useless, my life is over. Why is this happening? Protest. Let those mecha masters give us an explanation. This must be the conspiracy of the mech masters, they destroyed our last hope. The only hustle and bustle comes from the main road. The desperate warriors began to vent their fear and anger, turning into thugs. Ordinary citizens can only hide in their respective shops and houses, lock the doors and windows, hug each other and shiver. At this moment, a loud broadcast came from the sky. The commander-in-chief of the Valkyrie army and the United Fleet ordered, "Martial law will now be enforced." Floating mother hummers turned into fortresses stagnated above the city, casting huge, endless shadows. The faces of the thugs shrouded in shadows quickly changed from distorted to terrified, as if they had just recovered from a nightmare. They hurriedly threw away the sticks and other things in their hands, and ran back home. This scene was staged one after another in many communities. The thugs who have lost most of their martial arts naturally have no ability to resist in the face of the suppression of the interstellar fleet and mecha masters. The order of the entire Valkyrie star was barely stabilized. After dealing with the affairs for a while, Fang Xian dropped everything and started the task of encircling and suppressing the warriors of the heavenly demon sect. He didn't forget the revenge of the last time. Half a month later. Star District. On the periphery of a certain fighting club. It's here. Fang Xian touched the center of his brow, smiled without saying a word. In terms of understanding of demon warriors, it is natural that warriors who practice magic kung fu have the deepest understanding. Coupled with the induction of tribulation force, in places where demonic warriors gather, there must be an extraordinary calamity brewing, forming a wind eye, which is the most obvious sign. Comparing the two, coupled with his final confirmation of the mystical view of the Deludo cave, no matter how well hidden this kind of stronghold is, it can only be exposed inexplicably, and he has no temper at all. It's here. Fang Xian found a beverage shop nearby, sat down and drank coffee. Next to it, 2 rows of detectives from the Warrior Crime Investigation section who had been waiting for a long time immediately surrounded the fighting club and rushed in. "Everyone, hug your head and squat down." A black-clothed detective pointed at everyone with a grim expression. "This gentleman, is there some misunderstanding? Our Mr. Huang used to be a mecha master, and he has a good relationship with many high-level officials." A manager was about to step forward to say something, but was immediately kicked over and fell to the ground. "No, they found out, kill." A student who was practicing Sanda suddenly turned blood red with his hands, blood evil hand. This is the standard martial art of Tianmo men, the standard equipment of demon warriors. It really is a magician. The investigators of the investigation department showed a sinister smile on their faces, and fought with the suddenly blackened warriors. "Guardian Huang, the stronghold of our sect has been discovered again." In the office of the guild hall, looking at the surveillance agents who kept entering the interior, a disciple of the Tianmo sect said to an old man with an ugly face. "Recently, the strongholds of our sect in many districts have been wiped out. The master of the sect suspects that there are traitors in the sect, or that the other party has developed a technology that specifically detects the true energy of the evil way. Huang Lao is a former mecha master, and he has also proved the way of martial arts. But at this time, he was only a low-level martial artist, and immediately said after hearing the words, 'We will transfer immediately, and we can only abandon here, everything is for the sect master's plan, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.' The big defeat on the front line is a blow to most of the martial arts star warriors, but for the traitors of the Tianmo men, after knowing how powerful the extraterritorial Tianmen is, their loyalty has not declined but increased. Moreover, the chaos on the Valkyrie star happened to be their opportunity. Clear. Several confidants immediately opened a secret passage. Boom. At this moment, a big hole was opened in the ceiling, and a huge black shadow stepped in. "It's a mecha master." A look of despair appeared on Huang Lao's face. "United Fleet? I will fight you." He was really angry, his hands were black and red, and he looked desperate. But after a few confidants pounced on them, they immediately got into the passage without looking back, and ran away. Using flesh and blood to forcibly shake the mecha, This old man is so stupid to do so. Unfortunately, if my martial arts cultivation is still there, it is not impossible. As a secret evil organization, the 3 caves of the rabbit is the basic quality. The secret passage was naturally prepared long ago. Huang Lao ran quickly, kicked a certain wall, and came to the sewer network. As long as he leaves from the other side and changes his face, he is sure to escape the tracking of the investigators. Humph, when the sect master's big plan succeeds, you will all die. Old Huang hummed angrily, lifted the manhole cover from an inconspicuous corner, and got out. He has stepped on this alley a long time ago and knows that it is rarely visited. But at this moment, a figure was standing in front of him with a smile, holding a cup of coffee in his hand, as if he had been waiting for him for a long time. It's finally out. Fang Xian stretched out his hand casually. The heavenly demon disintegrates, and all transformations are transformed. Huang Lao's skin was full of blood, and it was obvious that he had used some desperate secret method. Snapped. The next moment, he was crushed to the ground like a twitching toad. A mere guardian is not in my eyes, but you Tianmo men, it seems that you really want to make trouble. Don't you know that I am covering this planet? Fang Xian splashed a cup of coffee on Huang Lao's face, directly blurring the other's eyes. Of course, this is not the effect of coffee, but Fang Xian's enchantment. Tell me about your plans for the demon section. Fang Xian's voice became ethereal and illusory, and his spirit seemed to turn into a sharp sword, piercing into the depths of Huang Lao's heart. Huang Lao's expression was sluggish, his lips were pale, and he began to move unconsciously, uttering a blurred voice, a priest, a great existence that destroys warriors. Depend on. Fang Xian rolled his eyes. This possible development involving a hidden existence was the last thing he wanted to see. Are all the Tianmo men a bunch of idiots, thinking that he has taken refuge in an extraterrestrial demon, so he has face in front of such an existence? Wake up, the extraterrestrial celestial demon is just a dog that exists like that. When will the dog owner feel that the fleas on his dog have face? This kind of sacrifice is very likely to not get a response. If you get a response, it will be even worse, because you don't know whether the other party is malicious or kind. No, human beings can't bear the kindness that exists. This situation must be prevented, otherwise the Valkyrie star may be destroyed because of it. For the convenience of reading next time, you can click favorite below to record this, chapter 373 Sacrifice. Congratulations to the leader of the book friend 1504270903505569, and you can see it next time you open the bookshelf. If you like The Lord of Reincarnation, please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Lord of Reincarnation. Author, Wen Xiaogong. Chapter 375. You can search for Reincarnation Lord in Baidu to find the latest chapter. Heavenly Demon Gate. When Gu Shi walked into a gate, he always felt that something was wrong. The riots in various parts of Valkyrie Star is a great opportunity for the development of their Tianmo sect. But the head of the sect issued a strict order to let them, the key members, gather at the headquarters, and it was said that they were going to do something big. Xiao Shi, I think this incident may have something to do with the fact that the newly appointed military boss started to encircle our stronghold. In Gu Shi's mind, a woman's words emerged. That's Sister Lan, a warrior from the heavenly demon sect like him, and it is said that she used to be a wealthy daughter, but then she offended someone, her family was ruined, and she herself also embarked on the path of the devil, and her attacks were ruthless. But, on the way here, I met the martial god army to investigate, and Sister Lan was exposed. I'm afraid the end. The headquarters is also strange. If there is a large-scale siege, shouldn't they order the members to break up into pieces, lurk silently, and preserve their vitality? Why cluster so the target becomes more obvious? At this moment, Gu Shi saw a dark brown symbol on the wall inside the door. It looked like a goat's head, with 4 horns winding from different angles. Around it, there were still some dark brown dripping down, which seemed to be written directly with human blood. This symbol brought a powerful impact, and immediately interrupted Gu Shi's thinking. This symbol, what does it represent? Why do I feel it has power? This is painted by the door owner himself, saying that it is the revelation given to us by the Great Existence. A middle-aged fat man who flashed out of nowhere grinned and interfaced. Gu Shi glanced at it and recognized it as Lao Mu. Although he was also a martial artist of the demon sect, he practiced the ancient way of picking flowers and prostitutes, and he was always despised by others. Even Gu Shi looked down on him, but at this moment, curiosity arose. He could only suppress the disgust in his heart, and asked, "Is this given to us by those things outside?" "Yeah," the door master was addicted to it immediately. "You came just in time to participate in the sect master's sacrifice tomorrow." Lao Mu excitedly said, "It is said that this is to restore our martial arts." "Oh! This is worth doing." Gu Shi's eyes lit up. The warriors who participated in the Tianmo men were either burdened with blood and deep hatred, or were forced to a dead end, but in any case, most of them did not have the determination to completely betray human beings. The reason why he joined the Tianmo sect was because of his quick success in the magic way of martial arts, and once he mastered it, he would be like a maggot attached to the bone, and it would be difficult to escape. For such a warrior, the most important thing is his own force. When I was worrying about whether I could recover, it was a surprise to hear this news suddenly. For Gu Shi, the extraterrestrial demons are nothing but extraterritorial things. If they can't bring benefits, then they are nothing. However, in order to recover his martial arts, he was still very willing to participate in that sacrifice. The line of sight is constantly stretched and raised from the headquarters in the suburb. High in the sky, above the thick clouds, there is a fortress-level floating carrier floating. Fang Xian was wearing a big cloak, with his hands folded, sitting on the highest command chair with his legs crossed, looking like a high god king, overlooking all of this. "Report to the commander-in-chief, the Tianmo men headquarters has been discovered. Tianmo men warriors are gathering here. According to the news from our intelligence personnel, it is the master of the heavenly demon section, who is preparing to conduct a sacrifice, and the target is the great existence that the heavenly demons outside the territory say. A large amount of intelligence summary. The time is tomorrow, at dawn. Whatever the enemy wants to do, we will destroy it. They will sacrifice tomorrow, and we will sweep their place tonight." Fang Xian stood up, still clasping his arms. 10 minutes later, let's start with a burst of artillery fire to wash the ground. After 10 rounds of shelling, the Mecha division team is dispatched to encircle and suppress the living targets. If the head of the heavenly demon sect really did something wrong, maybe he would run away. Fang Xian was still very concerned. "Clear." The subordinates saluted and went down to prepare one after another. At this time, Fang Xian suddenly received a request for private communication. This is a friend he specially marked, otherwise he wouldn't be able to get in at all. "Chai Jingguan, are you looking for me?" He called up the screen and left. Chai Jingguan on the opposite side seemed to be seeing Fang Xian for the first time. He was startled for a while, and then turned into a cry, "Lao Luo, you must save my father, you are a big man, you must treat my old man well. Dad, be merciful." "Huh? What's going on? Tell me carefully." Fang Xian's expression changed. "What's wrong with your father?" "I'm so stupid, I should have thought of it earlier. My dad, probably, maybe, has something to do with the demon warriors, didn't you recently preside over the crackdown on the demon warriors? My dad disappeared. I looked through his room and found a lot of things belonging to demon warriors. I was so scared, woo woo. Chai Jingwen cried with snot and tears, one man, two brothers, you have to help me. Chai Jingwen's father is not only a local tyrant, but also a demon warrior. A flash of lightning flashed in Fang Xian's mind, thinking of the black market information leaked by Chai Jingwen after the college entrance examination, and his understanding of magic skills by eavesdropping on his father's phone call. At this time, I didn't feel much surprise. I'll check for you. As long as you are not shot dead on the spot, you will be saved. Don't worry. Fang Xian promised indifferently. With power in hand, it is natural to be a little willful. He signaled his clerk to investigate the information, and within 10 seconds, the report came: Chai Yahu, nicknamed Lao Mu, identity, agent of the Intelligence Bureau. Responsible for the undercover mission against the demon sect. Ah! What? The communication was still maintained, and Chai Jingwen was dumbfounded when he heard this. My dad is not a magician, but an undercover agent? Undercover stay faster, okay. Fang Xian rolled his eyes, thought for a while, and decided not to irritate Chai Jingwen. With his authority, he easily called up Chai Yahu's information, currently in the base camp of Tianmomen. It's dangerous. Don't worry, I will try my best. He reassured his friend repeatedly, hung up the communication, and immediately fell into deep thought. Commander, what should we do? Asked the clerk. The plan is changed. First send a message to our intelligence personnel. If Lao Mu can escape, he will continue to bombard the ground. If he cannot escape, then the mech division will lead the attack. Fang Xian made a decision: get my mech ready, I want to fight too. We must protect the safety of each of our intelligence personnel, we can't let them shed blood and tears, right? Your Excellency, the Commander-in-Chief said. The clerk already rolled his eyes countless times in his heart, so he could only agree at this moment. For the convenience of reading next time, you can click favorite below to record this, chapter 374 Undercover, reading record, and you can see it next time you open the bookshelf. If you like The Lord of Reincarnation, please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. The Lord of Reincarnation. Author, Wen Xiaogong. Chapter 376. You can search for Reincarnation Lord in Baidu to find the latest chapter. Diddy. Lao Mu's communication bracelet lit up, and an ordinary advertisement appeared. The middle-aged fat man, who was always smiling to everyone, saw the advertisement. His expression remained the same, only his pupils shrank suddenly. You guys talk first, I'll do something. He laughed along with him, settled Gushi down, and walked out of the gate. As he got farther away from the core area, his footsteps became faster and faster, and in the end he was running wildly with light work. No. Fatty Mew, why are you running so far? Stop. Several warriors felt that something was wrong, and hurriedly used lightness kung fu to chase after it. It has to be said that this old Mew played the role of a prostitute, and his lightness kung fu of passing through thousands of flowers without touching his body was simply at its peak. Even if it was weakened a lot, he still firmly left the pursuers behind. The two gangs chased and fled, and crossed a certain boundary in the blink of an eye. In the darkness ahead, a mech suddenly appeared. It's a mecha master. No, Lao Mu is a traitor. Those demonic warriors didn't see well, so they were about to retreat. Fang Xian swung a few random punches, crushing these pawns to death, then stretched out his big hand to pick Chai Yahu up. Informant old Mu. A young voice came from inside the mecha. It's me, who is this lord? Chai Yahu was overjoyed. It seemed that the mission was completed and his life was saved. I'm Luo Yi, come with me. Fang Xian's mecha stretched out its wings from the back, and suddenly flew into the sky. Let's enjoy this grand fireworks. Boom! Boom! Chai Yuhu saw. A huge flame exploded in the headquarters of Tianmo men. After the first explosion, there was the second, and the third. The grand flames exploded at night, really like a beautiful fireworks show. Many buildings exploded directly, and the black warrior inside was torn to pieces. If I'm still in there. Chai Yuhu struggled to maintain his breathing with the strong wind blowing in his face. His heart was full of horror. Immediately, he saw the floating spaceship hidden above the clouds, and a cold order came from his ear. The first round of shelling is complete, and the second round is ready. After putting Chai Yuhu down, Fang Xian didn't care about it, and focused on the artillery fire below. Boom boom boom. Round after round of artillery fire not only completely destroyed the buildings of Tianmo men, but even plowed the ground, exposing the soil layer hidden deep underground. The bombardment is over, Mecha Master. From all directions, like a huge searchlight column, it swept towards the position of the Tianmo gate. The huge mech pounced on, ready to round up the fish that slipped through the net. Puff! Deep in a certain soil layer, a pitch-black mech suddenly burst out and rushed towards the blockade. There are hostile mechs, fight! The two mechs immediately surrounded them. There are even black mechs. It seems that the demon sect has corrupted many high-level people. Fang Xian looked at the sporadic black mechs rushing forward, without any expression on his face. Most of these mechs are of the star demon level, and they don't even have a moon wheel, so he doesn't even have the desire to make a move. Therefore, I just sat and watched those staff members formulate a strict encirclement plan, advancing layer by layer, encircling and suppressing black warriors and mechs. A district confirmed, safe. Second district confirmed, safe. In the end, the encirclement became smaller and smaller, reaching the core position of Tianmo men. Where's the head of the heavenly demon sect? That kid must not be dead. The machine armor is at the moon level, right? Fang Xian personally sits in town. In fact, it is for this guy. At this moment, I couldn't help but feel a little suspicious. Core area, found abnormality. Found abnormality. Suddenly, an image was transmitted. It was the ruins at the deepest part of Tianmo men. The soil was rolling, and blood suddenly seeped out of it. It was as if, under this piece of land, there was a spring of blood. Gilug! Gilug! The soil rolled over, forming a deep pit, and a lot of blood gathered in it, immediately forming a pond. I feel something is wrong. I seem to see something strange. Report, tester number 3 has auditory hallucinations. Retreat now. Retreat. There was chaos in the public channel. Has the ceremony already begun? Looking at this scene, Fang Xian got more information with a premonition of robbery. Sect Master Tianmo originally planned to sacrifice all black warriors. It doesn't matter who will kill them. Is this a wolf extermination, or already crazy? He pressed the center of his brows, feeling that although it was dangerous, it was not to the point where he wanted to retreat. Gollum, Gollum. The blood was still spreading, and if one looked from a high altitude, one could see that the blood pool had turned into a strange shape, somewhat like a goat's head with 4 horns. Strange spiritual power spread, opening like a field, bringing terrible pressure. Even warriors, even mecha masters, faced with this scene, felt their energy was exhausted rapidly. Their bodies could not move, as if imprisoned by an invisible net. Fire! Fang Xian's face remained unchanged, and he gave the order. Boom! The high-altitude artillery fire fell, but the space above the blood pool was distorted. After the shell entered this range, it seemed to lose its ability to explode, turning into a pile of scrap copper and iron, and fell to the ground. A field where high-tech weapons are prohibited? Change the rules of physics in a small range? Fang Xian's expression became more serious. This means that the sacrifice of the heavenly demon sect master has been partially successful. Bang bang bang. One after another, the mechas exploded, and the mecha masters inside could not be spared, turning into meat paste. Their blood melted into this land, became part of the ceremony, and became a sacrifice. Indistinctly, there seemed to be an ethereal and crazy voice. Praise you, the black earth that gave birth to the demon. You are the master of the demons, you are the manifestation of the power of the universe's reproduction. Humble and insignificant, ignorant and blind people, offer sacrifices here, hope to gain your favor. Just hearing this prayer, Fang Xian seemed to have a phantom of a planet in front of his eyes. Endless celestial demons live and multiply on it. Occasionally, sporadic mech fragments can be seen. That is Omen's star. And deep in the heart of the earth, it is not good. He forced Ji Li to prevent himself from continuing to perceive. In the same world, peeping at the existence above the true God is not much different from courting death. Nuclear flat palm. Fang Xian came back to his senses, and directly slapped the blood pool. Light. Thousands of rays of light converged into mass extinction radiation, and after entering that area, they disappeared one after another. The surrounding soil was mixed with blood and water, and suddenly squirmed towards the center, converging into a huge black and red door. The giant gate stands tall, as if growing out of the ground, and is still rising, breaking through 100 meters in a blink of an eye. On the door, there are some complicated and strange patterns or characters, which makes people feel dizzy at first glance. At this time, the huge door opened, and a monster mecha stepped out. It vaguely looks like a Valkyrie star mech, but its surface is covered with vine-like tentacles of flesh and blood, which crawl in and out like earthworms. On the shoulders, there are overlapping human heads, forming a brand new head of the mecha department. One of them, Fang Xian is still very familiar with, is Ji Lao. Teacher. He sighed with a complicated expression. For the convenience of reading next time, you can click favorite below to record the reading record of this, chapter 375, The Gate of Flesh and Flesh, and you can see it next time you open the bookshelf. If you like The Lord of Reincarnation, please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. The Lord of Reincarnation. Author, Wen Xiaogong. Chapter 377. You can search for Reincarnation Lord in Baidu to find the latest chapter. Mecha found. Energy level, 0. No. What did I see? There was chaos in the public channel. Teacher, have you been captured, eroded, or polluted? Fang Xian looked at the monster coming out of the gate of flesh, and felt that it was randomly pieced together with all the members and mechas of that top team. Even just looking directly at it may cause ordinary warriors to be infected and go insane. Pass my order, everyone retreats. You cannot join this kind of battle. Fang Xian gave the order calmly, and watched the door of flesh and blood disappear, but felt relieved. As expected, the head of the heavenly demon sect, a mere ant, was still unable to attract such a great existence. However, a family member was recruited, so the result is not bad. As for Ji Lao and the others, they must have been dead. But it can't be said that, being polluted by such an existence, mental distortion, personality and life form changes are nothing more than normal things. For Fang Xian, that old teacher Ji Lao is already dead. Still alive, don't know what inexplicable thing it is. Unexpectedly, we will meet again in this form, teacher. With a sigh, he took the initiative to walk into the Tianmomen area. At this time, with the end of the summoning ceremony, that domain power also disappeared. There is only a strange sense of distortion, gushing out from the flesh and blood mecha monster, which seems to be constantly polluting the land. Although the degree is very slight, If it is given enough time, it may be able to expand the scope to the entire Valkyrie star. Hey, how does it feel to see teacher again? A dark shadow. Jumping onto the palm of the flesh mech, he looked at Fang Xian at the same level. It was a middle-aged man, tall, with handsome features, and his purple eyes seemed to be filled with a kind of evil charm. It's the master of the heavenly demon sect. At this time, he said in a voice of emotion, human beings are too small. Even a martial immortal can only live for a few hundred years, compared with the vast universe and the stars, it is nothing. What? Mecha fighters are a bunch of ignorant people. So, you choose not to be a human? Want to change your life form? Fang Xian sneered. Yeah, only in this way can we get closer to greatness. The heavenly demon sect master murmured. The head of the mecha, the heads of Hua Lao, Ge Lao and other mecha masters murmured together, closer to greatness, close to immortality. Puff. On the mecha, vine-like tentacles of flesh and blood suddenly stabbed out, piercing into the back of the heavenly demon sect master one by one, engulfing him in the mecha, tangled and fused into one. I am a member of a great existence. I came here as expected and summoned. I will rule the world. The monster mecha let out the roar of the master of the heavenly demon sect, and rushed towards Fang Xian. 11 Ri, the limit. Fang Xian murmured, driving the mecha, and also rushed up, atomic fist. Fusion palm. On the opposite side, the flesh and blood mech raised its hand, and a sun appeared out of nowhere. Nuclear flat palm to nuclear flat palm. The four palms touched together, and the astonishing explosion centered on them, continuously spreading to the surroundings, forming a storm of light and heat. Not long after, a huge mushroom cloud could be seen rising. In the center of the light, there are two silhouettes of mechas constantly fighting. If Fang Xian hadn't ordered the retreat of the nearby fleet, perhaps they would have been affected and destroyed. At this time, on the martial god planet, the eyes of all the major forces have noticed this place. Bang bang bang. The two mechas kept punching each other, and they exchanged thousands of moves in an instant. Amazing. Even Fang Xian couldn't help but sigh with emotion. He has proved the immortality of martial arts and possesses the strengths of the five paths. But the opposite is also true. Moreover, he knows more about mecha martial arts than he does. Not only Ge Lao's nuclear flat palm, but also Hua Lao's martial god art, and even the computing power of Do Buddha, and the terrifying damage of Demon Dao can all be found from the mecha on the opposite side. It seems that if it devours a certain mecha master, it can get everything of that mecha master. If you don't comment on the ugly appearance and monster-like spirit, then Fang Xian has to admit that the other party's life form is very advanced and superior. Heavenly Demon Sect Master, is he so terrifying? This kind of performance, I am afraid that he has transformed into a demon. Why did our top mech master turn into a monster? Oh my god, if Commander Luo is defeated, Valkyrie Star will be finished. From the high-altitude satellites, the high-level officials who barely saw the battle situation, no matter what their original thoughts were, they could only work together to pray for Fang Xian at this time. All they can do is pray. Zuri's peak level is no longer a battle they can intervene in now. In the blink of an eye, Fang Xian fought tens of thousands of moves with the head of the heavenly demon sect, from the ground to the ground, and then into the sky. In terms of martial arts, the two of us are not even close, and we can't tell the winner. Fang Xian sighed, but, I am not only good at martial arts. With a long roar, the mecha suddenly stepped forward and punched out. The flesh and blood mech on the opposite side wanted to defend, but suddenly stopped for a while, and was hit in the chest by Fang Xian's solid punch. Puff. A large amount of stinky blood spewed out as if money was not needed. Domain of Doom. Blood manipulation. The blood fell on the ground, mixed with the soil, and even seemed to become another kind of life, still wriggling. The vitality contained in this flesh and blood mech is simply incredible. Seeing this, Fang Xian couldn't help but take a deep breath. In fact, there are only two alchemy techniques created by him, the mysterious view of De Luo Cave and the 9 transformations of Gangsha. Even, Gangsha's 9 transformations are not complete, only 6 transformations. The remaining 3 transformations are calling the wind and calling the rain, the universe in the sleeve, the sun and the moon in the pot. It is limited to the alchemist level and has not been able to be used. But now, after being promoted to the 5th level of alchemist, Fang Xian suddenly broke through a certain limit. Behind him, the wind was howling, and the rainstorm was coming in an instant. It seems that with him as the center, it directly began to affect the weather in this area, making him a walking natural disaster. Many satellites were blinded at once. The turbulent cloud layer brewed a terrible thunderstorm, so that the high-level officials of Valkyrie Star could no longer see the image of the battlefield. Gangsha's 9 transformations call wind and rain. What changes is the celestial phenomenon. What is manipulated is the mighty power of nature. Fang Xian's mech stood tall in the void, beckoning, lay lie. Click. In the cloud of fish scales, countless thunder and lightning tangled, falling on his hands, like the spear of Thor. Go. He twisted his waist and waved his arms, like a legendary lightning thrower, throwing the light spear containing the power of thunder and fire, piercing through the flesh and blood mech's chest and back. Well done. Above the flesh and blood mecha, Ge Lao's head was crazy at first, and then he was a little dazed and bitter, and he uttered a word in relief. Puff. The next moment, endless rays of light burst directly from the body of the flesh and blood mecha, causing it to shatter and explode like porcelain. For the convenience of reading next time, you can click favorite below to record this, chapter 376 Breathing the Wind, reading record, and you can see it next time you open the bookshelf. If you like The Lord of Reincarnation, please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Lord of Reincarnation. Author, Wen Xiaogong. Chapter 378. You can search for Reincarnation Lord in Baidu to find the latest chapter. It's over. Fang Xian looked at the flesh and blood mech cracked and turned into fly ash, with a serious expression. The alchemy of calling the wind and calling the rain was finally deduced after he was promoted to the 5th level of alchemist. Moreover, that Thor's spear not only carried the power of thunder and alchemist, but also its own nuclear fire, and even the 3 immortality, all were consumed together. It can be said that he has reached the peak power of his all-out shot. This is the only way to kill the enemy with one blow and completely wipe out this subordinate. This is the safest way to deal with this kind of evil god's family members who are tenacious in vitality and do not know when a wave will erupt. Facts have proved that his decision is very correct. The flesh and blood mecha on the opposite side, most of its body has been reduced to fly ash, only the overlapping heads, some are in pain, some are struggling, some are relieved. Do you think it's all over? The face of the head of the heavenly demon sect suddenly appeared, and he said something in a low voice. Do you think it's all over? The next moment, the head of the heavenly demon sect master turned into ashes and turned into the face of another woman. Is it all over? The woman's head was reduced to ashes, leaving the last bald head. His eyes were confused, but he kept pointing in Fang Xian's direction. The final counterattack. Fang Xian retreated violently, his body covered with layers of defense. He asked himself that with the outer protection of the mecha, plus his own defense, it was impossible for him to be pulled back by the opponent. And that's exactly what happened. The last bald man on the opposite side murmured, blood and tears flowed from his facial features, and just turned into fly ash. No attack? No. This feeling? Fang Xian's expression changed. An invisible curse? Or something else? He felt that he was under some mysterious influence from outside. But it doesn't seem to be fatal, because there is no warning in the mysterious temple of Deluo Cave. Next moment, the turbulent tribulation force surged down from the void. This amount surprised even Fang Xian. Could it be that I changed the course of history that was originally destined for this world? Saving a big world, the tribulation power gained is naturally incomparably terrifying. The surging tribulation power was absorbed by him with a swallowing attitude, which made the progress of the alchemist's fifth-level breakthrough steadily, and reached a kind of success in a blink of an eye. You can stop now, it's a pity that there is still so much robbery power left, huh? Fang Xian felt creepy for a moment. Because he found that he couldn't stop the robbery infusion, and could only allow the true spirit to absorb it continuously, like a fat man who was full and kept stuffing food into his mouth. This is the last curse of the evil god's family just now. That's not a harm, but a gain, so there is no response from the mysterious view of Deluo Cave. But if you overdo it, you will still die. Fang Xian was taken aback. His strength is rising steadily, but it is not a good thing. Because it feels like my soul is about to explode. The tribulation force from the outside world has not decreased in the slightest. With his cultivation, he surpassed the alchemist 5th level and reached the limit, and even launched an impact on the 6th level. Damn, the 6th level of alchemist, I just had some ideas, and I didn't deduce them completely. But it will be even worse if I don't break through, my soul will explode. This is not the body, but the soul. Attribute bar. Active reincarnation. Fang Xian felt that every thought of his was extremely difficult. His soul was already filled with robbery power. At this time, the last hope can only be placed on the option of active reincarnation. It's a pity that the movements that can be easily done at ordinary times are like a tortoise climbing at this time, and his thinking has become slow and dull. If this is the curse given by the evil god's family, then the other party has indeed succeeded. I will either survive, or break through and die. Fang Xian saw the attribute bar. But at this moment, the attribute bar was covered with a layer of twilight, resisting the click of his thoughts. He smiled wryly in his heart, quietly feeling the surging tribulation force, hitting the bottleneck of the 6th level alchemist time and time again. Snapped. Suddenly, Fang Xian felt a sharp pain in his soul. What? He covered his face, his veins bulged, and his facial muscles became distorted. Even he couldn't bear this kind of soul-tearing pain. I broke through, the 6th level of alchemist? Fang Xian was a little surprised, but there was no joy in his expression, only endless regret. He founded the alchemist's way, but the 6th level of the way has not been deduced and perfected at all. It's like building a building rashly with only a graffiti-like design sketch. The result is disastrous. The 6th level of alchemist is naturally different from the 5th level. Fang Xian felt that he had become a black hole, and he would not refuse any calamity in the void. At the same time, under his skin, black sarcoid tumors emerged one after another, seeming to be constantly rolling, scurrying around like little mice. Physical distortions are trivial. The point is, even his soul began to change. A layer of dark color began to spread, trying to impregnate the true spirit. Tired. Terrible exhaustion swept Fang Xian's entire consciousness. He almost wanted to give up struggling and fall into eternal darkness. Do not. If the true spirit dies, it's really over. With his last remaining strength, relying on the personality and strength of the 6th level alchemist, he finally broke through the cursed gleam of the evil god's family members, and his consciousness clicked on the attribute bar. Increase your comprehension, deduce the 6th level of alchemist. This is a remedy after a dead end, and it may not be useful, but you have to try it. Fang Xian's sea of consciousness was extremely clear for a moment, relying on the computing power of the fighting Buddha level, Combined with the increased understanding, he quickly deduced, alchemy level 6, with my current state, I can't deduce it perfectly, it can only be, minimize the damage caused by this breakthrough as much as possible. This time I was hit hard, partly because of the blessing or curse of the evil god's family, and partly because the way of alchemy I created was not perfect and had flaws, and then I was forced to break through without being fully prepared, causing all hidden dangers bursting out all at once. If you want to survive, you have to go through the big cycle of reincarnation, maybe, you have to bet on the small reincarnation board. At this moment, his body had already begun to collapse, disintegrating like dust. Small reincarnation disk, suppress. With a move of Fang Xian's mind, the phantom of the small reincarnation disk emerged, rose to the level of a true spirit, and began to entangle with jelly, restricting each other. Active reincarnation, open. His soul, which was about to collapse, temporarily stabilized. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Fang Xian didn't dare to be negligent, and immediately gave up this body, and plunged into De Luo's reincarnation. For the convenience of reading next time, you can click favorite below to record this, chapter 377 level 6, congratulations to the leader of book friend 1504270903505669, and you can see it next time you open the bookshelf. If you like the Lord of Reincarnation, please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. The Lord of Reincarnation. Author, Wen Xiaogong. Chapter 379. You can search for Reincarnation Lord, in Baidu to find the latest chapter. In May, on Monday, the target went out, made purchases, and talked to the buskers at the vegetable market. Other than that, everything is normal. Tuesday, everything is fine. Wednesday, Target dined at Papa Hopper's restaurant, everything is normal. Thursday, the target is ready to start a new creation, bought a blank notebook, pen, ink in the store, keep watching. Friday, everything works. On Saturday, the target began to improvise, mostly the beginning of poems and novels. It is impossible to determine whether it is polluting, carefully observe, the sample has been sent for inspection. Sunday, the target fell into a state of frenzied writing, not sure if it was accompanied by delirium, prepared for forced interference. After 30 seconds, the target returned to normal, suspended the interference, reported. Excerpt from Love's Investigator's Diary. Finally, this Eastern ascetic, Western doom magician, the true spirit exploded and entered the embrace of Styx. What strange thing am I writing? Roca looked at the novel he had written in a daze. In other words, a little bit of the end of the novel, and more graffiti and poetry in front of it, it's a bit confusing. The creation of literature must already have a structure in the author's mind before it is formed into words. But when he looked at his own words, he felt very strange. Even if the ending is written, Roca has no memory of conceiving the beginning and the middle part at all. Reminiscent of the state of writing just now, this reminded him a little bit of the first time he was drunk, when he just graduated from the Faculty of Arts. He was filled with a big glass of rum bomb by several friends, a drink of sparkling liquor mixed with high-purity spirits, which can make the drinker faint and unconscious. The state of writing just now is somewhat similar to drinking to memory faults, and I can't remember what happened at all. Since that time, the condition seems to be getting worse. Roca muttered, opened the drawer, found a huge brown glass medicine bottle, took out a white tablet from it, and swallowed it with cold water. His doctor in charge told him that he had mild mental problems, but there was no need to worry too much. The symptoms could be relieved by taking medicine regularly, and most urbanites in this era had some physical or psychological diseases, which was a normal phenomenon. I don't feel normal at all. Rocket tore off a page of the notebook, crumpled it into a ball of paper, and accurately threw it into the half-full wastebasket. As a freelance writer, the manuscript fee he received from regularly submitting articles to newspapers, magazines, and publishing houses is his only source of income, paying for his house rent, daily expenses, and medical expenses. Well, if the situation is a little more serious, do I need to go to a mental hospital for recuperation? No. Once I go to that kind of place, I won't be able to get out, because you can't prove that you are sane, and the hospitalization fee is high. Wait, why do mental patients care about the cost? Rocca was amused by his wild thoughts, and felt that it could be used as a meme in a new novel. Well, although he is a writer, he can write anything. Novels are the main source, but not every one can be recognized by the publishing house. In addition, poetry is relatively short and consumes less space, so it is easier to get favored by some literary magazines. Although the manuscript fee is not much, it is a powerful supplement in times of distress. In addition, he even wrote lace press releases for some tabloids, which is a shame for the author, but for a living, at least when the release was published, Rocca changed his pseudonym. That time, what happened? After taking the medicine, Rocca rubbed the center of his brows. I seem to have forgotten something, but the doctor said that it was a traumatic reaction. Don't force the memory, but accept it slowly. He felt a little groggy in his head, which would happen every time after taking the medicine, so he fell directly on the bed and snored not long after. Hoo-hoo. The evening wind blows, and the windows are opened. A black figure jumped in from the window and picked up Rocca's draft paper on the table. Rocca is dreaming. It seemed like a bizarre adventure, and if it could be written, it should attract some attention. But the screen flashed too fast, and the characters seemed to be shrouded in a thin layer of mist, making it difficult to see clearly. Moreover, there are only some broken fragments. It is difficult to bring any inspiration, and it is very tiring. However, tonight's dream seems to be a little different. Which character seems to have become a little clearer? The next day, Rocca got up and saw that everything in the room was still the same as last night, and subconsciously called out, "Property bar." There was silence all around. In front of his eyes, no light curtain appeared. Why did I suddenly want to say this term? Because of the boys' secondary school? Or do you want to confirm that you are special? Rocca shook his head and laughed, walked to the dining room, opened the bulky and thick refrigerator, sniffed the milk in it, thought it was okay, nodded, poured himself a glass, and put 2 slices of oatmeal bread into the toaster to toast. Ding! The 2 pieces of bread that were baked jumped up automatically, and Rocca took them out, dipped them in tomato sauce, and made them into simple sandwiches. With milk, they formed a breakfast. If the manuscript fee was sufficient, he would choose to add a piece of fried bacon or an egg to it, but now, Rocca is plagued by nightmares and needs to pay a large amount of medical bills, and his living standards will inevitably decline. But as a writer, even a down-and-out writer has freedom. Rocca drove the second-hand car he purchased with an installment loan, and was about to go to a few of his friends. They will regularly hold some cultural salons, activities similar to reading clubs, and exchange writing experiences and skills with each other. The people involved are not only authors, but also painters and musicians, although most of them can only perform on the street. Considering the status of Rocca itself, it is almost the same. If 1 or 2 rich businessmen or high society ladies can be attracted, it will be considered by the organizers to be a very face-saving thing, and it is worth bragging for many days. While driving, Rocca felt the gust of wind blowing past his ears, and felt the dizziness in his head eased a lot. I seemed to hear that name yesterday. It's a bit strange. Fang Xian. No, it should be Fang Xian. Well, it's a strange name. If you take him as the protagonist, readers probably won't accept it, right? However, maybe you can change his name to conceive a novel? Why, I still feel something is wrong. For the convenience of reading next time, you can click favorite below to record this, Chapter 378 Writer, Reading Record, and you can see it next time you open the bookshelf. If you like The Lord of Reincarnation, please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. The Lord of Reincarnation. Author, Wen Xiaogong. Chapter 380. You can search for Reincarnation Lord in Baidu to find the latest chapter. The meeting place was the home of one of Roka's writer friends, Stuart. This guy is said to have come from an oil tycoon's family, but he didn't like to inherit the family business in a company, so he ran out and became a writer chasing his literary dream. Among the down and outs, he has the most money, and is often joked by Roka as the person who will go back and inherit billions of dollars if he doesn't work hard. Stuart's home is a two-story wooden villa, located next to a beautiful lake. According to him, he has to walk around the lake every day to find inspiration. When Roka parked the car, he found that there were several small cars parked around. It was obvious that other friends had almost arrived. Seeing this scene, he hurriedly parked the car, sorted his clothes, and knocked on the door of the villa. "Roka, you are the only one missing." It was Stuart who opened the door. He was tall, with slender cheeks, and there was a dimple on one of his cheeks when he smiled. "Shayla brought some fortune cookies over today, you should try it." Roka promised, walked into the living room, and saw that many people had come, surrounded by a somewhat strange man, watching him paint. He was wearing a slanted painter's hat, a sky blue shirt and plaid suspenders. He had handsome features, but overall, he was not much different from the wandering painters that can be seen everywhere in the square to paint portraits for a living. "Who is this?" Roka casually picked up the last fortune cookie on the tray next to it, and asked. "His name is Simpson, he just came to our Orsay, and he came here through Dick's introduction," Stuart said a little uncomfortably, a self-proclaimed wandering abstract painter. "He stole the attention of too many girls from us, even Shara." Roka knew why Stuart was like this, and teased, broke the fortune cookie in his hand with a crisp sound, and pulled out a note. "Doom." "Okay." Stuart took the piece of paper and chuckled. "Is it a prank by the merchant? You are so unlucky, brother. We never have this. You hit the jackpot." "A prank?" Roka looked at the word doom, and suddenly felt a sharp pain in his temple. "What have I forgotten? Doom. Why does it feel so familiar? What's the matter with you, buddy? The sequelae of the last car accident?" Stuart asked with concern. I'm fine." Roka sat down on the sofa, feeling better from the headache, but more doubts followed. I had a car accident. Why, I forgot. Everyone, it's done." At this moment, Simpson's brush stopped, revealing the complete painting. Red, black, yellow, green, all kinds of bright colors converged on the canvas, which inexplicably made Roka feel a little sick. In addition, there are irregular and distorted lines, which can even make people dizzy when stared at for a long time, and it feels as if they are constantly wriggling. "It's great, I seem to see some charm of Master Constantine from it," a girl in a red dress exclaimed. "I saw the spark of inspiration, it was amazing, this perfect color combination. And this line." The sound of praise came from all around. Roka suddenly felt a little dizzy, and the surrounding buildings seemed to be centered on him, constantly turning in circles. That individual figure became somewhat blurred. The people present are all figures from the literary world. "I think a beautiful painting must match a beautiful little poem," Simpson smiled, with some anticipation in his eyes. "I don't know who else will perform next." "For improvisation, of course we are here at Roka." Seeing Shayla's eyes staring at him, Stuart blushed, and quickly pulled La Roca's arm. He knew his talent. If he didn't go through a whole night of thinking and suddenly came up with a work, he would definitely make a fool of himself, so he could only ask his good friend for help. "Yeah, Mr. Roca's literary name, I have admired it for a long time, and I have read your 3-line poem in a magazine." Simpson smiled, handed over the cardboard and pen, and stuffed them into Roca's hands. Roca's hearing was a little blurred. The surrounding though is in daylight, a literary salon. But in his eyes, the figures became mottled and alienated, like branches of black trees at night. Those numerous voices also turned into dark and hoarse whispers. Crackle! The flames exploded. It was a bonfire, there were black figures, and there were slightly crazy ravings. A kind of longing, as if accumulated in the chest, is about to burst out from the strokes irresistibly. Roca took the pen and began to write his poems on the paper in a sleepwalking posture. No, these are not his poems, but those that were engraved in his body and in his spirit. At this time, they are reappearing in the world through this gesture. Roca can still write poems, it seems to be fine, but the state is a bit fanatical. Stuart muttered something in his heart, leaned forward, and saw a series of slightly messy words on the paper. "The front is in such a mess that I can't see clearly at all, just like a child scribbles, a few words are written, and then quickly crossed out. At the back, the altered places gradually become less and more understandable. It's like a continuous creative process." After sorting it out a bit, Stuart felt that he saw a line of poem, and read it softly. "I have gone through rebirth and death, but I can't reach the other shore. Death comes chasing after the shadows, without youth you will not perish. This psalm will live on and give you immortality." These 3 lines of verses were altered in some places, but they carried a strange charm, which made the eyes of many people present shine. "That's it, that's it." Simpson looked frenzied and shouted, "Immortal! Immortal existence!" His voice was weird and seemed a bit out of tune. "This poem will live on and give you immortality." After being read by him with weird syllables, everyone present felt wrong. The body is fine, but the spirit seems to be pressed by a black boulder. Just when Stuart was about to say something, he found that he was already limp on the ground, and he didn't even have the strength to say a word. Most of the people present are like this. The only ones who could maintain their posture were Roca and Simpson. Roca rubbed his temples and looked at Simpson, who came to grab his poem manuscript. "I seem to have seen you. You remember, survivor of the ritual?" Simpson's expression became cold. "It's your honor to be able to listen to the voice of a great existence. Now, you are useless." He drew out a black dagger, and slowly stepped forward. "Death is the destination of everything." In this weird atmosphere, Roca was shocked to find that he had no strength to resist, and could only watch Simpson come to him. As if it was an illusion brought about by death, he saw a light curtain emerge in front of him. For the convenience of reading next time, you can click favorite below to record the reading record of this, chapter 379, Writing Poetry, and you can see it next time you open the bookshelf. If you like The Lord of Reincarnation, please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Lord of Reincarnation. Author, Wen Xiaogong. Chapter 381. You can search for Reincarnation Lord in Baidu to find the latest chapter. Boom. Just as Simpson's knife tip was about to pierce Roca's eyes, there was a sudden gunshot. The loud sound made Roca's ears ring. Simpson, as if hit by a locomotive, fell back and fell to the ground, a pool of blood spreading rapidly. The door of the villa was pushed open immediately, and a middle-aged man in black with black hair and messy stubble came in, and smiled at Roca. "Hello, I'm Love. Investigator Love. How is this going?" Roca asked blankly. "I remember, I seem to have seen you before?" "It seems that you have recalled a little bit again, This is very difficult. Love scratched his head. Simply put, Mr. Raka, what you encountered before was not a car accident, but a kidnapping, and those kidnappers still treat you chasing after him. Today is the proof. He kicked Simpson, who fell to the ground, and then looked at the fallen man, showing an embarrassed expression. Then, let's ask someone to deal with it first. Familiar ceiling. Familiar smell of disinfectant. Roka opened his eyes, looked at the surrounding wards, and suddenly remembered that he seemed to be sent here after the inexplicable car accident last time. No, according to the investigator Love, what happened to him was not a car accident. At this time, looking at the familiar scene in front of him, what he recalled in his mind was something else. That was the truth about his previous kidnapping case. The murderers were a group of men in black robes and hoods, like wizards acting furtively. They kidnapped themselves and force-fed a lot of psychotropic drugs. It seems that there is more than one person who was kidnapped together with him. And then, it's a ceremony. Roka has forgotten those specific prayers, mantras, and only remembers the dark night. Trembling branches, dancing flames, and frenzied people. People like myself who don't know if they are sacrifices or what, are all mentally insane, shaping, drawing, and creating. What I created should be that 3-line poem. Roka talked to himself and completely recalled it. I have gone through rebirth and death, but I can't reach the other shore. Death comes chasing after shadows. Without youth, I will not perish in withering. This poem will live on, and give you immortality. He silently recited this line of poetry in his heart, and suddenly his eyes lit up, and the light curtain emerged again. It's not a hallucination. Roka stared at the light curtain carefully, and found that it was expressed in a strange language or symbol, but he could fully understand the meaning. Name, Fang Xian, Luo Ka. Occupation, alchemist, level 6 death. Alchemy, Taoism, martial arts, weird. Boom. It was as if a thunderbolt exploded in Roka's head. Countless memories emerged, flooding his consciousness. He fell on the hospital bed and began to twist and struggle. After only a moment, he came to his senses. I'm not Roka, I'm Fang Xian. Fang Xian came to his senses completely and looked around. The movement just now was very short, and the voice was very soft, which did not attract the nurse. At this time, he couldn't help letting out a long breath. It seems that there is a big problem with the reincarnation this time, but at any rate, I finally woke up. This time it was really miserable. He recalled the scene where he was forced to break through in the mecha world, and then went mad, and his body and spirit were about to be destroyed. At a critical juncture, I used the attribute bar, barely used the reincarnation disc to suppress the robbery force of the rampage, and actively entered the reincarnation. At that time, he was completely unable to control himself and could only drift with the flow. Now it seems that I have arrived in a completely strange world, and, my jelly. Fang Xian stretched out his hands, only smiled wryly. Wither Ji, me, is this the realm of the 6th level alchemist? Why is it such a bad word? The first level of alchemist is to lay the foundation of calamity, the second level is alchemy, the third level is to create yin god, the fourth level is to master the domain of misfortune, and the fifth level is immortality. And the sixth level is nirvana. What is extinction? The power of robbery is silent, and there is no more magical powers of alchemy, it is for extinction. To put it simply, although the alchemist level exists, it loses all the tribulation power and related alchemy, and can no longer absorb the tribulation power to practice, which is a little better than being completely abolished. The 6th level of an alchemist is a big hole. Although, I dug this too, after all, even if I have the help of reference objects and attribute columns, it is extremely difficult to deduce a road to Deluo. After 7 before the level, these hidden dangers completely broke out. Also, the hasty breakthrough in the last world didn't give me much chance to save myself. Even even the reincarnation option has disappeared, because the small reincarnation disk is suppressing Ji Li? Fang Xian thought quickly. Originally, after he broke through the 6th level, he should have died under the force of the rampage. At the last moment, everything was gambled, and some mistakes were barely corrected. From breaking through and dying, to breaking through to the 6th level of alchemist, entering the period of extinction, and all robbery powers fell silent. As long as you are alive, there is hope and a solution will always be found. Fang Xian nodded, and looked at the attribute bar carefully. This world does not coincide with any world rules I have experienced before, so, after the alchemist's way fell silent, I didn't even have extraordinary means. I became an ordinary people? No. I can see the attribute bar? Does it mean that there is still a bit of extraordinary power? No. It's those 3 lines of poems. They have power themselves, so I can see the attribute bar? Fang Xian is still very clear about how deceitful his cheat is. Even though the attribute bar is on him, if he doesn't have a bit of extraordinary power, he won't be able to see it easily. But the 3 lines of verses that he recited had a bit of extraordinary power, which made him finally see this broken golden finger. If you don't see him, you don't know when you will wake up. Maybe you will live in a muddle for the rest of your life with Roka's identity and memory. Poems have power and rituals, which means that this world also has a transcendent path. I can climb up and find a solution to my own problems. That flesh and blood mecha, the last curse is a bit scary. Could it be influenced by evil gods? However, it is level 6, and I am also level 6. It is understandable that both sides will suffer as a result. Alas, those people in the mecha world, please ask for blessings. The way of Deluo means that all time and space exist forever, but the 5th level is still the 5th level. In the last world, if Fang Xian didn't have a machine armor, he would be equivalent to the moon wheel level only with his own alchemy. Only when the mech is on, can the power of the sun limit, but the evil god's family on the opposite side is also the limit of the sun. Facing any opponent, one cannot be underestimated, especially those related to evil gods. Fang Xian slowly closed his eyes to rest. Not long after, the door of the ward was pushed open, and Love walked in. Roka, how do you feel? Okay, what about my friend? Fang Xian showed Roka's attitude and asked anxiously. They're all right, they just suffered some mental shock. Our people have already given them hypnotherapy, and combined with drugs, they can forget what happened today. Well, for them, it is a must to live as ordinary people. A kind of happiness, but you can't do it? Love replied with some pity. Why? Fang Xian was startled, and immediately said to himself, because my trauma is too serious, I can't hypnotize my memory, or will it continue to recover? Yes. Love nodded heavily, and, according to the clues on the Simpson we caught today, we caught a group of cultists in a surprise attack. They call themselves the Falling Star Sect, and they are after you. For the convenience of reading next time, you can click favorite below to record this, chapter 380 Ward, reading record, and you can see it next time you open the bookshelf. If you like The Lord of Reincarnation, please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. The Lord of Reincarnation. Author, Wen Xiaogong. Chapter 382. You can search for Reincarnation Lord in Baidu to find the latest chapter. I think, I need to know the truth. Fang Xian half leaned on the pillow. About you, about the Falling Star cult. Of course, I'm here to tell you that. Love pulled out a chair and sat on it. How should I say it? Let me think about the beginning. Do you believe that there are supernatural forces in the world? If it was before, I would think you were farting, but now, I believe it. Fang Xian nodded. If you can accept it, it will be easier to explain. Love took a long breath. Most of these supernatural powers are dark, corrupt, and chaotic, but as long as they are power, there will be foolish people chasing them. We, the investigators, want to fight against these ignorant people, lest they accidentally poke something big. So, we are on the side of justice. This is gratifying news. Fang Xian laughed. You are sharp. Love looked at Roca in surprise, feeling that this person seemed to be a little different. Let's talk about your case, Falling Star Cult. They are composed of a group of rats in the sewer, and everyone has a bright side and a bright face. The two sets of identities in the dark, according to some information and confessions found today, they have not long been in contact with supernatural power. The main method is to kidnap some talented people such as painters, writers, sculptors, and stimulate their perception through various means. Get them in touch with the will of the Great Being, leave an understandable message. That's how I was kidnapped. Well, I'm single, living alone. If I disappear, the time to be discovered will be delayed for a long time. It's a good target. Fang Xian nodded, thinking of more. Roca was kidnapped and participated in the ceremony, and the group of cultists actually didn't know what existence they were going to pray to, and the directionality of the ceremony was messed up. But by mistake, there are always a few successes. The existence Roca came into contact with was the true spirit of the other big monk Fang. This allowed his originally muddled true spirit to find a residence, and instead of disappearing into nothingness, it slowly condensed and finally awakened. Well, no. Besides me, there is a power that caused Roca's death and gave the three-line poem power. Fang Xian was shocked. Feel the hair stand on end. Yes, but luckily for you, we happen to have an investigator who was tracking down another painter's disappearance, disrupted that ceremony, and saved you. Love interjected. After waking up, you accepted our treatment and medicine, forgot everything that happened, seemed to be back to normal, and was discharged from the hospital. Of course, we suspect that the Fallen Star cult will not let it go easily. Because most of the ceremony has been carried out, some of you may have contacted the Great Being and obtained some information, which is what they are eagerly looking for, so, I am responsible for monitoring you. It's like fishing? I'm the bait? Fang Xian smiled, as if he didn't care about being watched. Yes, today's harvest was good. The Fallen Star sect was hit. You should not dare to show up again for a while. You are safe, of course, it will be hard to say in the future. Before the Fallen Star sect was completely destroyed, I will probably miss you. Love twitched the corner of his mouth, revealing a stiff smile. And a new problem has appeared, my memory, I can't forget it. Fang Xiandao, I am an insider, but you have no way to hypnotize me, make me forget that memory, and be an ordinary person, so, either imprison me or let me join. Yes, Roca, would you like to be an investigator? Love's expression became serious. This is not an honor, but a responsibility. You need to endure madness and pain. Do I still have a choice? Fang Xian smiled wryly, but he was looking forward to it. To be recruited by an extraordinary organization just after time traveling, this is a good thing I haven't encountered in a long time. The hospital where Fang Xian works is called the Rebecca Sanatorium, which is good at mental treatment. It is just a wall away from the Huishan Asylum, and it is quite well known in Orsay City. In the blink of an eye, a week passed. After various tests, Fang Xian was proved to have fully recovered. Before that, his friends were discharged from the hospital one after another, and a false memory was implanted. In a nutshell, Simpson, who attended the party for the first time, brought a batch of hallucinogenic drugs, gave them food, and brought them down. He himself has been arrested and will face legal sanctions. In the newspapers later, there will be news of Simpson's trial. In short, everything will be faked perfectly. When Fang Xian asked why he did this, Love replied meaningfully. The greatest fortune of mankind is that mankind does not know some things, Sometimes, knowing too much is a kind of pain and danger. After Fang Xian was discharged from the hospital, he got into Love's co-pilot seat and asked, "Where are we going?" "The investigators' headquarters." "Yes, you are going to go through a series of tests, as well as entry procedures. Of course, we still have some experiments and need your help to study." Love turned the steering wheel, seemingly relaxed. "No problem, but what is the name of our organization?" Fang Xian asked curiously. "Keeper." Love replied, "Take care of the secrets, keep the secrets, and ensure that the secrets do not spread. This is our purpose." This is a very cautious organization, with a pessimistic attitude towards extraordinary power, a restrained and conservative attitude. Fang Xian made an evaluation in his heart, and asked casually, "What experiment?" "Regarding the fallen star cult, don't worry, it's not for you to contact any great existence and listen to the other party's voice, it's about that oil painting and your poem," Luo Fu said. The car drove on a deserted and unmarked road for half an hour, and came to a concrete building. "This is the keeper's branch in Orsay, come in." Love went to the garage to park the car, took Fang Xian, walked into the seemingly simple but actually heavily guarded 3 gates, and came outside a place similar to an interrogation room. "Do the inspection first, mainly the questionnaire, don't worry." Love comforted me. Fang Xian rolled his eyes and took the initiative to enter the interrogation room, feeling quite uncomfortable. "What? Wrong?" After sitting down, Fang Xian felt that something was wrong in the interrogation room. Every corner of it is filled with cement, without the angles that ordinary buildings should have, and the structure is very weird. On the wall, there are some black spots, which seem to be disorderly. But if you stare at it for a long time, you will feel a pressure. Narrow, closed. If you stay for a long time, it may drive people crazy. He found out. So fast? Is the inspiration too high? Looking at the scene outside the one-way visible glass, Love's eyelids twitched. For the convenience of reading next time, you can click favorite below to record this, chapter 381 test. Congratulations to the leader of the book friend 1504270903505569, and you can see it next time you open the bookshelf. If you like The Lord of Reincarnation, please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support.